All right, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome back to the UAE Careers Community Virtual Fair. Our next speaker is actually zooming in from outside the UAE. Miss Zuzana Schwalb is an executive and leadership coach and organizational change agent. As a quick introduction, she has several years of experience in HR and change management and leadership coaching in multinational corporations across the pharmaceutical and IT industries in Europe as well as the Middle East. Her expertise and passion lies in emotional intelligence, HR consulting, executive leadership coaching, leadership development, executive search, talent and high potential development, and high performance. Also in the formula racing. A little bit on the personal side, Susanna was born in Slovakia in Eastern Europe, having studied in Edinburgh in the UK. And over the last 14 years, she has been living in Vienna, Austria, with work exposure across Europe. She is currently also working as an educational agent at American University of Switzerland. So, very warm welcome, Miss Susanna. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Winter. It's nice to be here. And it's definitely my passion, the topic emotional intelligence. And I'm going to start with a little story about myself. I hope you can hear me very well because I work on digital technology for the last year, and I know that that might be some reasons whether not or yes, but I hope that you do. But the story that I would like to start with is related to emotions, because when I was, well, I still consider myself young, although I'm 38 years old. But let's say when I was very, very young and I was deciding to go to school and university, I thought, and I don't know why, maybe it was the environment that I was exposed to, maybe it was the perception that I was holding, that I thought the emotions were not very good or had no place in the professional life. And somehow I was always disregarding them. When eventually I met someone about possibly 6 years ago, and I was already going through a lot of good things and experiences in my life, in my profession, but someone told me that I should follow my heart. And honestly, I didn't really understand what the person was saying, because I remember when I went home from that meeting, I was asking myself, what does this mean to follow your heart? What are they talking about? Because I was so disregarding the fact that the emotions have no place really in my life, I didn't really know what it meant. So what I would like to do today is I would like to show you, I'm just trying to get to the next slide. I don't know why it doesn't work. Let's see if that's gonna help you. Yes, no. So what I would like to do today is talk about the dream, because I strongly believe that the dreams have a lot to do with good emotions. And maybe it is right to do it, maybe it's not right to do it, but I will still do it. That I will say that we have emotions that we perceive or we classify as good, positive, that we like to have. And then we have negative emotions that we don't necessarily enjoy and like to have. And for me, because I can only always speak for myself because of my perception, I say that the dreams are good. And dreams create maybe some kind of inspiration in us, good feeling, something that moves us, something that makes us go after that possibly we think or believe that we are not able to achieve or do. So what I would like to start now is that I would like to ask those who are in the room if they can think of something that maybe they, as a maybe younger child, yeah, that they thought, oh, this is something that I would like to do. Or maybe they were watching someone that they thought, this is something that I would love to do. This is actually very exciting. So do you actually have a dream? Do you have something that you could think of, yeah, I had a dream, but I don't really think of that because I don't think I can achieve it. I want you to leave that part away. I just want you to really think about your dream right now. Do we have any responses maybe in the chat room? Shweta, can you see if there's anything that someone, if there are any courageous or open people to share with me whether they actually hold on a dream?
Yes, actually we do. Zuzana, we have Mehershad, who has a dream that they're trying to achieve right now. And they said that if we want, they would be happy to share.
Thank you so much. It is no need to, I mean, I would love to hear about the dream because I love people talking about something that they are aspired to get. What I would like you to remember as of today is that the quality of your thoughts and how you feel has everything to do with how you're going to achieve the goal. And what I mean by it, that I consider myself as a person who was always very ambitious and who was always going after what I wanted. And I did it in a hard way. I didn't necessarily enjoy it until I met the person who told me, follow your heart. And when I look at the research and the science, it tells us that the messages that we are getting from the heart to our brain are far more than the other way around. So really, the emotions that we feel makes us, first of all, human, and second of all, are indicators whether we are moving toward that what we want or we don't. And I will get to that in a second. What is the emotional intelligence? You might already heard about the IQ, the intellectual intelligence, and I've heard a lot of false premises that apparently if you are high in a IQ, you probably are not very high in a EQ, in other words, emotional intelligence. Well, again, I can only speak from myself, from my experiences. There is a research that sometimes they say, yeah, but I have experienced people in my professional and private life who are extremely, extremely high in IQ and very, very high in emotional intelligence. Was it something that they were born with? No, I don't believe it. I think they were gradually working on themselves and gradually learning about themselves in order to get there. Now, the emotions are, like I said, very important and are crucial in order to get something that you actually want. So what my goal today is for you to think about what is it that I really want. And I can be honest with you, since I started working in the environment of coaching, which actually I got very gradually to, it wasn't something that I planned because I was in corporations and I was working with very senior leaders, and I was probably even lucky to be born in a family where some family members are in high politics. I was surrounded by leaders, and I realized that first of all, not many people follow their dreams, and then when they achieve their goals, they somehow realize that, oops, I don't really feel happy. That's because, like I said, if you follow your heart, you don't even have to be at the sort of a peak of your goal. You will enjoy the journey throughout your life because you will follow your heart. So my intention, my goal, my desire today is for you to make a decision. That is all. Just to make a decision that you, first of all, decide that you want to know what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be today. The decision doesn't, or the information, the outcome doesn't have to be today. It could be later on. Or maybe you already know what you want, but until now you were hesitant or you were not sure whether you could even achieve that. And I want you to feel empowered. And what I mean by it is that I want you to be in control of your mind, and you will understand what I talk about, by the end of this workshop or presentation, whatever you call it, that you will feel motivated, not even motivated, inspired, probably that's the right word, inspired to go after what you want. And when I started at university, I was 17 years ago. I studied in Slovakia and then I studied in the UK. At the time, my studies were for 5 years. So that is why I chose this time scale, that I want you to think about what is it that you can actually achieve, what is it you can do in 5 years. Because when I went to university, I didn't even have some kind of idea that when you're at university, you could have even your own company. When I started it, I met a girl at one exam. I was studying business management and human resource management. And I remember I met this girl at an exam who started talking to me. And she said that she was having a company, dancing company. And I was like, what do you mean you have a dancing company? She's like, yeah, I dance, professionally with a group of girls, and we're dancing at like parties, like company parties, like Christmas parties, that if they want to have a program, and I lead this company. It's actually good, and we're now even getting on TV. And I was looking at her, and I precisely remember that I was thinking, wow, I wish I could have the courage and the intelligence and even the skills to go for it, to even study and have a business. Now, I'm not saying that you should have that this is something that you should go for it. It's just that it's how important it is for us to open a mind what we are even capable of. And I put, again, 5 years, because the 5 years was a period of studies, whether it was at the Edinburgh or whether it was when I was studying in Slovakia. And I found some very interesting information, at least for me, that in 5 years, Columbus opened up a whole new world by discovering North and South America, Cuba, and Bahamas. In just under 5 years, Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel. In less than 5 years, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, and 5 other immortal plays. And at age 30, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos was living in a 500 square foot apartment, and 5 years later, his net worth was at $10 billion. So there are so many options that you can do. And I now know that when I feel inside that I'm inspired to do something, that this is something that I look up to, maybe I see someone doing something, some kind of a profession or some kind of a role, and if I feel inside in my body some sensation, positive sensation, then I know I am inspired. I am inspired to either have that skill or to become like this person. That's why I keep saying to my clients or people that I work with, it's not important how good you are. It's very important how good you want to be, because that's how our mind works. Always. It always works with the information we put in our mind. And I will show you in a minute how it works. But before I do that, I just want to show you what is it that I do. Like I said, I have this passion in the topic of emotional intelligence, but also topics like leadership and executive coaching, which I do on a part-time basis, even now in a corporation, in the IT industry. Before, I was in a pharmaceutical industry for over 11 years, where I experienced organizational development changes, change management. I also do or work as an educational agent at the American University of Switzerland. And my passion is the high performance, but not necessarily just high performance, because I want people to perform well in organizations and feel good about themselves, feel good that they are doing a really good job. Why? Because I was in a high performing company before, and as a HR, I experienced a lot of cases that I thought, well, this is not healthy. This is not good. I mean, yes, it's important to get success. At least for me, this is what I like. But it's also very, very important to enjoy it, to have a happy life, good quality life. and feel fulfilled and happy that in what we do. And that's why I decided to set up a company, and I've been coaching and consulting and training in these areas. For the last year, my doors open even to professional sports people. I started to be more involved in formula racing, and now I've been even in touch with a French guy who his dream is to drive for NASCAR because he is a French, and the NASCAR was just really only for Americans. But he decided that he's going to break the rule and he's going to go after it. It's not necessarily my primary expertise, but I have to say I do enjoy the passion of people that they know what they want and they go after it. Now, going back to the mind, I decided to show you a picture which is related to the mind and heart, and I call it mind-heart connection. And for those maybe who haven't seen it yet, I want you to think of it as either a computer or as maybe your phone or your iPad, and think of it that as a hardware, and that's your body. I know it's a little bit of courageous example, but I want you to understand what I talk about. So the hardware is your body. The body is able to function only because of the organs, in other words, because of your mind, which is connected very strongly to your heart. The same for the computer, for the phone. If you don't have a software, it doesn't function, it doesn't work. Now, the phone also needs a power, because if you don't have a battery or if you don't have electricity, it doesn't work. And that's the same for humans. If they don't have connection to positive, I mean good feeling emotions, they are not able to function in a long term, and they are not able to get what they want and enjoy it at the same time. That is why the emotional intelligence has become so important, not just for people to have good relationships, but also to have a good quality of life. What I mean by it is to be happy. And you would be surprised. I mean, at least that is my experience going through multinational corporations, huge. I'm talking about thousands and thousands of people across the world, that I, as a person, met people that they were achieving, they were not feeling happy. Like they were not really connected to their body, to their, I call it electricity or power, which are the good connections to the heart. So thinking about the software and thinking about the hardware, because I'm in an IT company now, where I support the team in terms of leadership and performance, I learned one very, very good quote. And in IT, you say, what you put in as a junk, you get out as a junk. And that works very well with the mind as well. What you put in your mind as a junk, in other words, the quality of thoughts, you will get out, because the thoughts go into your subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is like a software. And as young people, I say you have advantage. It doesn't have to be, it's not a rule, but the possibility is very high that as a young people, you have the advantage to still adjust your mind by yourself. What I mean by it is, let's say someone in your environment might have had a very negative experiences related to some topic. And you mentioned to this person that you want to achieve this, or you want to go after this goal, or you want to have this dream. And that person might laugh at you. You have two options. You can either believe the person because you think, well, this person is very mature, experienced, he or she's probably right, I probably can't do it. Then I personally would consider it as a junk, that it goes into your mind and it influences you not in a good way, because automatically it holds your body back and you don't go after what you want. But if you have someone who is inspiring, and who will tell you, yeah, you can have whatever you want, you can go after you want, as long as that's what you want and you feel good about it. Then your subconscious mind, through the repetition of thinking about it, accepts it, and you as a person are automatically moved towards that goal. That's how it works. That's why it's so important, and everywhere you hear that, be cautious what you think about, be cautious how you feel, be cautious, because it's going to manifest outside in the world. Why? And now I don't know if I have any in the audience related to this, but sometimes I speak about example of a driving. So if you have a driving license already and you drive and you are used to it, in other words, you do it automatically without thinking about it. Sometimes it happens to me, even I know this, that I drive and sometimes I ask myself, oh my gosh, how did I get here? I don't even remember the journey that I got here. That's because the subconscious mind, the deep mind, is moving my body automatically without me consciously thinking about what I'm doing. And that's how it works in terms of the dreams and in terms of the goals, because they are so anchored deep in the mind that we do things automatically. The power, the emotions are probably the key, because it will keep you happy. It doesn't mean, sometimes people say, well, I will be happy when I get there. No, never. The mind will trick you. If you tell yourself, this is what I want because it makes me happy, it brings some spark, emotions, good feelings in me, then you're happy. And that's the key towards your goal. And it works, it really does. And I'll show you a little bit later more information. So what does it mean? How do you know if you are high in emotional intelligence or low in emotional intelligence? I heard some false premises that if you are emotional, then you are high in emotional intelligence. That is not necessarily true. You can go on my website. I have a test there if you would like to test yourself, like where you stand in terms of your EQ. But generally, if you are able to recognize how you feel, so I feel good in this group of people, or I feel good, I feel happy when I do this activity. Like for example, I love when I go cycling. It's just like, I feel this freedom. I don't know what, I'm not doing it professionally, but I recognize that it gives me a good feeling. I love spending time with my family. I love laughing. I love watching funny movies. And I started sort of observe that when, in what situations I feel good. Now, I'm saying that I'm in these situations 100% all the time, but I'm saying that I recognize in what moment I feel good and I don't. Then I think of, okay, so I know I'm feeling well. This is what I like. And if I get angry, let's say someone makes me angry, or something makes me angry, or something makes me frustrated, I ask myself, why am I feeling this way? I'm not saying that this person made me, which I just did, but I did it purposely. But I ask myself, why am I feeling angry? And I'll give you an example. I remember that precisely again. I was in high school and I wanted to go to that first university, which I had to pass very, very hard exams. I don't know if it was because of the baby boom at the time that we were such a huge population, or I mean, the university was really good, but they were only taking about 250 students. And I really, really wanted to get to that university. And I had an English teacher. She was really good, really, really good in English. And she somehow figured out that I wanted to go to that university through maybe talks that we had as discussions. And I know it was her intention to help me. I remember that. But she came to me and she said, you know, your English is not good enough. Maybe it's better to go for a different university because you probably won't pass. And I remember at the time, I was so angry. I was so angry. But her intention was good. She just wanted to help me when I look back now. But at the time, I can tell you, I was disappointed. I was first angry, then I was sad. And I then somehow spoke to my dad about it. And my dad said, why do you believe her? Why do you believe her that you can't do it? And it somehow got stuck in my mind. And then I started thinking, it's true. Why do I let her decide whether I can pass or I can't? And I did pass. And actually, I started really hard. And I was telling myself constantly, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And I worked so hard that then eventually I went to the UK and studied there. And then I worked there, and I even went to America. And I know now that I could go back to her and I could tell her, by the way, you know, I got to that university, I passed the exam, I got even over 95%. But I know that she would tell me, she would smile and she would look at me and she would say, I'm so proud of you. Because at the time, her intention was to help me, but I perceived it something that she was putting me down. The art is to be always in charge of your mind and never let anyone to control, whether directly or indirectly, about your life. Everyone, I always tell myself, everyone has for sure good intentions. Everyone has for sure opinion because of their experience, but it is my decision whether I'm going to accept it for myself or not. And here I have a little bit of an overview what it means to be high in the emotional intelligence or low. But the first thing is to always be in charge of your emotions and recognize them, not suppress them, recognize them. So what I would like to do is I would like to start with a little game, which I learned throughout some workshop on the emotional intelligence. And why? Because when you decide that, okay, as of today, I'm going to notice, I'm going to focus on how I feel and what kind of thoughts I have in my mind, it requires a lot of focus. And it took me a while to understand what the focus really means. Because once you are aware how you feel and why you feel that way, as I told you the example with my teacher, I was angry, but I wasn't angry because she told me that. I was angry because I thought that she thought of me that I wasn't good enough. But if I believed by myself that I was good enough to achieve that, I wouldn't have been angry at her or generally. So I was focusing in my mind. I had a thought in my mind that was telling me I'm probably not good enough to get to that university. That was the focus that I didn't realize. And once you are able to recognize it, you can just switch it and you can just say, thank you. This is what I tell sometimes my mind. I say, thank you. That's opinion, but I don't have time for this now. I want to focus on this presentation, or I want to focus on this workshop that I do, or I wanted to focus on this very important conversation. I recognize what is it in my mind is telling me. And once you do, you start to relax, and then you start to feel good, and you realize, you know, life is good. Life, I like life. Actually, it's going the way that I would like to do. So that's the focus. And I would like to do now a small exercise for 20 seconds. And I would like you to count on the picture that I will show for 20 seconds, all geometrical shapes that you see. That is all. Just all geometrical shapes. So let's go to the picture and I'm counting now. Got 10 seconds left. Okay. So I would like to ask some people in the audience, how many geometrical shapes did you see on the picture? Shanta, if you can help me, if there's anyone who is courageous enough.
Yes, so we've got two answers so far. We've got 31, we've got roughly 100. Um,
Okay, well done, thank you.
got a 26.
Well, see, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask you another question. How many kids were on the bus? How many kids did you see on the bus?
Someone says 5.
Okay, well done. Well, when I got the first time this exercise, I was like, what bus? There was a bus? I didn't even notice that bus. Well, that's because when you are strongly focused on something, you don't see anything else. You don't actually notice it. And that's why when your mind is telling you something, let's say in that case, when I thought I can't pass the exams, my mind was telling me I'm not good enough. And that is why I was creating a reality for me that probably I would not pass the exam, and it would confirm it to me that, are you not good enough? That's why I tell people every time when I coach them, watch, or observe or be aware of what's going on in your mind. And you can't do it 100% because that would be exhausting to do it like 24/7 or 16 hours a day. It's just that when you don't feel good, focus, why am I not feeling good? What am I focusing on? What am I thinking of? Or what am I observing that I don't maybe necessarily like? And then change it. Change either the thought or focus on something that is pleasant for you. I actually coached yesterday one lady, and she decided to move up in a corporation, and she's relatively young, and she told me like, oh, because there's this thought that I keep having in my mind that I'm this blonde little girl, that people see me as a little blonde girl and they don't take me seriously. And I said, well, stop it. If you observe that you have this thought, what could you tell yourself? And then she started saying, well, I could tell myself that I'm good enough. I'm good enough to learn. I'm good enough to get it. I'm good enough. I've worked hard. I've studied hard. So what you focus on, create the reality outside. That is why it's so important to be aware of how you feel and what you think. So going back to the dream, whatever that you want to achieve, let's say you would go, I don't know, you want to be an international artist. So my advice, I don't know if it's the right word to say it, advice, but what I would do from my experience and knowledge that I know, I would focus on the end. Like, how does it feel to be a famous international artist? How does it feel? What would I do there? Why do I even want it? Like, what is it I want to experience? Do I want to go abroad? Do I want to experience new cultures? Or do I want to just be in a flow of painting? I would start thinking about these things because they make me feel good. And then, like I said, with the computer as a software, it will go into your subconscious mind, and gradually your body will move towards that goal. This is my last slide, and I always tell my own son, because I have a child, I always tell him, I want him to be empowered. I want him to feel that he is in charge of his own life, although he's quite small. But I always tell him, whatever you do, think about it, what you want to do and why you want to do it, how you feel. Because I realized that feeling good is probably the key for happiness, key for getting what we want, and even getting along as human beings in this world. But that is only my personal perception and belief. How do you make sure that you are focused towards that you want? Like I said, dream, very important, dream about what you want. If you know what you would like to get. If you think like, well, I don't know what to get, because I did have some such clients as well in the past that they were saying, well, I don't really know what I want. And I said, well, that's okay. As long as you have intention, then you tell yourself, I want to know what I want. And I can guarantee you, because I know how the mind works, that you will find out. You will be exposed to experiences that you will then gradually decide, this is what I don't want, this is what I want, and gradually you will find out. But you have to, in your mind, make a decision that you want to have this information, that you want to know what you want. Or you already know what you want and you say, yes, I know I have the potential, because that's how the human mind works. And I know that's my dream, because it inspires me every time when I think about it, or I look at it, or I listen to it, or listen about it. I know this is my dream. That's the way to do it as well. Or, and that's what I teach in corporations, is to calm your mind. And the mind is, if you start really observing your mind, like how it works, you will find out it's so busy. And it could be so strong. It's like telling yourself, I can say it as a lady, that I told myself a few times, I am done eating chocolate with my coffee, because I would like to lose weight. And if I tell myself I'm done with eating the chocolate, my subconscious mind, because I've done it so many times, there's a very high risk that will move me towards the chocolate automatically without even realizing. That's how the program works in the computer and in our mind. But in order to focus on something that we actually want, you need to calm it down. How do you calm it down? You either meditate, that's probably the best. Meditate in a way that go for a walk and start to observe your environment. And as soon as you notice that, I'm thinking about something else rather than the environment, then you're not calming your mind. Start saying gratitude, because when you say what you are thankful for, your mind has no other reasons to focus on something that maybe that, this person said to me, or this person made me feel this way, or, oh, I didn't really do well in this class, or I didn't really have a good discussion with my parents. Whatever that is, if you start focusing and telling something your mind, it has no other option just to focus on it. It's training it like a muscle. What works for me, I love uplifting, happy music. If I have a very busy day and I know that I am not really focused on that, what I want, in other words, my goals or my work, or actually I now sign up for MBA course as well to do it privately. So whatever distracts me and I feel like, oh, I'm not feeling well, I switch on uplifting music. I always tell my Alexa, please switch on happy songs. That's the phrase that I use at home. It's very important to sleep enough. When I was at the time of university, there were some people that they like to party, and I always say, whatever works for you guys, like whatever makes you happy, but sleep is like crucial to detox your body and your mind. Because if you don't sleep enough, the mind, the brain produces toxic neurons, it doesn't clean up, and then it doesn't have positive effect on you and your body, and you feel very tired and you don't function as good as you could be, and you're not happy at the end. You will feel eventually unhappy or depressed. Another thing that I would like to say is just do what makes you happy. Like meet people that uplift you, speak to I don't know, some groups that you want to get to, or do activities, some hobbies that you feel like, oh, this is something that makes me feel good. Gradually, you will move towards the awareness that I was talking about. And I put that here, the animal, because it's a symbol of my logo. I love this animal. I really do. It's my favorite animal. It's cheetah. And why did I choose it? For me, when I observed it in a zoo, I thought very calm, very focused, beautiful for me in my eyes, elegant, and unique. And I think everyone in this world is unique. if they decide that they want to be. Unique because it's the fastest animal. It might not be good in other parts, but it doesn't matter for me. And that's why I chose it as a logo and as a symbol for you to take it with you, that you could be a cheetah as well if you decide that this is what you want. And if you don't, that's all right. It's your choice. I think that's why it's so beautiful in this world that we actually have always the freedom to decide for ourselves. And that is all from my side. Are there any questions?
We had a couple of thank yous coming in, and someone has asked if you could put the link to your website, but I do believe that's up on the screen now.
Thank you. Yes. That you will find the test for emotional intelligence under the link. If there is anything that you would like to learn or you would like to find out, I'm happy to have a chat. Feel free to reach out to me. You can find the contact details on my website. Like I said, I'm also the educational agent at the American University of Switzerland, where I'm representing the subjects like business administration, entrepreneurship, luxury management. So if you would like to know any information about that, or I don't know, just coaching, whatever, let me know. I'm always happy to support or to reach out. Really, all good. Any other questions?
None as of now.
Okay, perfect. Well, I would like to thank you for your time and for your attention, because I know that the focus sometimes can be very challenging, and who knows, maybe see you soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Zuzana, for this. This session was very insightful. And I do hope, we can invite you to the UAE at some point and have you actually do the session in person for the community. It would be absolutely great.
I'll be happy to do that as soon as we are able to.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to our lovely audience that's been with us since the morning. You guys have been really patient. And just in terms of the next session, we will be starting at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to take a second, just thank you guys for just setting everything up and just providing this opportunity for us all. So thank you.
Indeed.
And thank you for such a lovely presentation, by the way. That was really, like awe-inspiring. I think is like the best way I can put it. Like, it really shows like the effect our mentality has on like the way our thought processes work. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you as well. It was nice being here. Very inspiring for me as well. Every time I love to inspire others, and I love to be inspired. I'm going to put it this way, not just to inspire others, but I love the feeling of feeling good and positive and probably the essence of it.
Yeah, I gotcha. It is a very nice feeling.
Thank you. So like I said, if there are any other questions, feel free to reach out. The contact details are on my website. Thank you so much, Rita, for your assistance and for your help, by the way. It's been great, really.
Thank you.